live streaming for the boys? Yeah. Is Andrew still up here? Andrew still up here? I've been partying since 7 p.m. last night. Huh? Yeah, we watched the American Sweet Love a little bit. Then we went to my friend's house for a while and Mobius smells like cocaine, so.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for everybody that
that song before, so thank God Joe got it. Hey, I had to go do some.
When we were right here at Soundcheck Studios, celebrating our South Shore musicians' Christmas party. So Jeff and I, it was a long night. We were kind of...
We're old.
we're old. We were kind of making a silent exit to the back of the building and get our coats and our arms. We were ready to go. Irish accent. We were ready to go home. And we heard our names all of a sudden. People were saying, get up there, get up there. And we come through the audience. And there was Brendan on the stage. And he was telling everybody about how cool it was that Mr. and Mrs. Jones let him play Rage Against the Machine at church. And he thought that was the coolest thing. And he told everybody that it was this kind of encouragement and support that was what made him the musician that he was. And I can't tell you, we were gobsmacked. We had no idea that he had felt that way about those times. And we were just stunned on the way home. And I can also not tell you how much that means to us now. And of course, Brendan, he continued the encouragement and the support that he's teaching and through his cheerleading of the local music community. And that's why we're all here. And we're going to have the opportunity to continue that legacy through support, through an organization that Jenna's going to come up and tell us about. His name is JJ from Rochester. She's awesome. We're going to hear much more about it. But we wanted to finish this set kind of bringing it full circle back around to where we came from, and that's church. So we're going to be in church. And we're looking at Tim Henderson is going to play the home for us. He is a part of that youthful crew. Your faithful everybody. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, guys. God bless you. Hey. How's everybody doing? Why don't you guys come closer? What's up with this, like, 15-foot? COVID's over. Let's go. Come on, get up here close. We're a community, right? Everybody take 2 steps forward. See, hear that? Is everybody here know Kathleen? This is Brendan's mom. Wow, the Joneses. Tough act to follow. What's that saying? How do you got to keep up with the Joneses? I don't know if I can do that. But my name's JJ, and I really want to say thank you first to Kathleen and Brendan's family for having me here. I run an organization called Rockstars. It's been around for 22 years. Thank you. 22 years is a long time to do anything. And we provide music education programs for kids all over Massachusetts and Rhode Island. We serve about 350 kids a year across a whole variety of programs. We have a full-time music program at the Boys and Girls Club Plymouth and also the Boys and Girls Club of Marshfield. Thank you. Yeah, Marshfield's cool. We're also in Fall River, we're in Lowell, and we also teach music to incarcerated teens in the juvenile prison in Rhode Island. Yeah, they really need it. We all really need it. And so that's a little bit about what we do, but it's really more about why we do it. Everybody knows in this room, everybody knows, I'm not going to sing the praises of how amazing music is and all the benefits. We're long past that, we all know it. But the reason we do it is because music is timeless. And we all kind of know this in our body, right? Like, we all learn to speak and learn our ABCs from a song, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's literally the first thing. And, you know, I'm getting a little older and sometimes I forget the names of my kids. My memory isn't that great. But music is something you just can't forget. Because music is not intellectual. It's not on a computer screen. Music is energy. It's literally vibration and energy. And as we all know from physics in high school, energy cannot be destroyed. Right? And it's the reason why, you know, as a 55-year-old guy, I can hear a Van Halen song in the middle of the winter, and instantly I feel like I'm driving in my car, smoking a cigarette with the windows open, singing Panama. Right? It's because it never leaves you, and it goes on forever, generation after generation after generation. Right? We all still know Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. And none of us here ever met him. So the reason I'm telling you guys all this is because as a result of this event, we've got a table set up in the back. There's a bunch of raffle items, but there's a big giant QR code, and all you have to do is go scan that code with your phone. And we're creating a music scholarship called the Brendan Craig Memorial Scholarship. Come on, more than that. Let's go. That's it. And the reason we're doing that is because we want kids 6 months from now, 2 years from now, 10, 30 years from now to think back to when they were 7, 8 years old and somebody believed in them enough to pay for them to take music lessons. Because believe it or not, we're all pretty fortunate in this room, and a lot of us have had access to music, but there's a lot of people out there who don't have that. And if everybody in this room goes over to that QR code and scans it and gives as much as you can give, we'll be able to support many, many kids for generations to come in the name of Brendan Craig. So please, I encourage you. It's easy when terrible things happen, everybody says, my thoughts are with you, my prayers are with you, and those are great, but then we all just go on with our lives, right? Like, we're all busy, tomorrow everybody's going to be back to work, and we want to do something, and with just a click of your phone, you can do something that ensures that we're all going to remember Brendan many, 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 many years from now, the same way that I remember Van Halen. So thank you very much, and thank you to Kathleen and to Brendan's whole family, which is all of you guys. Every single person in here is part of Brendan's family. So thank you, and please give what you can.
Okay, great acoustic stuff so far. JJ did a great job. Got a couple more for you. Don't be surprised. Dylan May is going to be the regional shot for you. And then we've got someone special who's going to perform this for you. Hang tight. Go ahead.
Hello there, my old friend. Not so long ago we were getting but late outside in the pouring rain, and all the way up the road started over again. Living the dream, oh, you on top. Your mind is aching, Lord, it won't stop. That's how it happens, living life by the drop. Up and down the road in a worn-out shoes, talking about good things and standing blues. You went your way, I stayed behind. We both knew it's just a matter of time. Living the dream of you on top. My mind is aching, Lord, it won't stop. That's how it happens, living life by the drop. Good to be here walking my flesh. Living a dream of you on top. My mind is aching, Lord, it won't stop. It's how it happens, living life by the drop. It's how it happens, living life by the drop. We got a very special guest coming up here. Close out this awesome acoustic hour for us. Ladies and gentlemen, please get up from Nicholas, Brendan's nephew. He's going to come up and play a number of keys. Thank you very much.
So that day I knew that Brendan had a good heart. And that he loved his family, and he cared for and looked out for his friends. She showed up in so many ways for them. But I just didn't realize how deeply he had touched so many people throughout his life. And that point has become clear over and over and over again. So it really does, Mom does. So today I kind of want to just share a short story about the tree and a little boy. And I don't know how many of you can see this screen over here, but it all began when Brendan was about a year old, and we had lived on Roller Coaster Road in Hampton for just about a year. And I planted a tiny magnolia tree in the backyard. And I happened to take a picture of him and his sister Kara in front of the tree. The next year, the tree happened to bloom on April 15th, which was his birthday, right? And so I realized there was a connection, and a tradition was born. And so, every year, right around his birthday, I took a picture of him in front of the tree. And it wouldn't usually be just him, but usually our family home retrievers were showing up too. But very quickly, the tree kind of outgrew the boy. Some years the tree bloomed right about his birthday, and others it was a week or two after. Or sometimes we forgot, and then we had to run out and get it. But at some point when Brendan was about 9 or 10 years old, he started rolling his eyes whenever I reminded him that it was time to take a picture. But he was tolerant of Mom. So at some point along the way, I told him maybe it was a bribe, but I promised him that on his 18th birthday, that was the last required picture. So as we scroll through here, he gets a little bit older. The hair absolutely changes along the way. So these pictures really remind me not only of his beautiful red hair, that changed from those toddler curls that the old ladies in the grocery store, that go like this. He was very tolerant of them. To the many styles and the many lengths along the way. And he would later often tell me how embarrassed he was that I let her do those things. I didn't force them, I promise. But the pictures remind me of all the love that we shared as a family through those years. And how Bob would drive into preschool and they would stop at Sandy's Corner Cafe in Hampton, and they'd get to pick out donuts before going to preschool. And did you know that Eli Morris and Jeremy Ash, two of his best friends, also attended preschool as there's a picture out there to prove that this Eli was there. They were best friends for life. Roller Coaster Road was his stomping grounds, his London stomping grounds, where he and friends worked days to dig and create a bike trail through the front woods because he loved to bike. He rode all over Hampton, the skate park, some of your homes. It was freedom, right? He didn't stay still for very long. He was always on the move. And I'm sure there was a little bit of trouble along the way. And many stories that we probably never heard. But the pictures remind me of a boy who was changing, right? And discovering who he was and what he loved. He was a kid who left behind eating chicken nuggets and someplace along the way moved directly to sushi. And somehow he discovered music and drums in our basement. And I don't know how many of you successfully ever made your way down Roller Coaster Road, but I want to show of hands of all of those of you who may have been in our basement or backyard at one time or another, right? There we go. There we go. I don't know that I know all of but it was a constant flow through and through. I will never forget the intricate work that the group, I don't even know if you guys had a name, it was from the high school groups, that worked on the Christmas National. And I think you guys were in 10th grade. It was so good. These guys worked for hours developing this medley of Christmas songs, what the transitions would be through them. And I got to hear it all up through the woods and into the basement. And I still have a chance to go on YouTube and watch it. And I would recommend that you guys look this up as the Christmas medley with Hanson High School. The video stinks. It's an awful video, but the sound is good. And it's about 15 minutes long because they weren't told how long to make it, and it's wonderful. So enjoy. And there was a whole other set of videos from one of his bands, Two from the Front, that were able to perform at our church, and as Jeff and Heather referred, and we had some open nights that they called Spotlight, or we called Spotlight, that bands could play. And there are some great videos, and Dylan chimes in as well, and from those times. So, real quickly, Brendan and I shared one other tradition at Christmas that I'd like to tell you about. The only thing I happen to collect are Christmas tree ornaments, and I love decorating my tree each year. For whatever reason, Brendan was the only one of our 4 kids who kind of enjoyed that process. And so he would help me decorate the tree a lot of years. And at some point when he was very young, he took a liking to this tiny little glass angel, a little ornament, and she kind of became a treasure. And it had to be the last ornament put on the tree every year. So in later years, even if he wasn't home, when I decorated the tree, I'd leave it out and keep it put on the tree. So even this past Christmas, when he came down to New Jersey and was sharing with us, he went looking for the angel on the tree. So he really was kind of this other little guy. So Brendan, you're on the inside. And I'll always hold you close to the life and the love and the dreams that we share. And I'm so proud of you as the person who came. You laughed easily, you felt things very deeply. You spoke what was on your mind, but you knew when to listen, and you knew how to be a true friend. And I will forever miss our long conversations, hearing what was on his heart, and I doubt we will ever understand the big question of why you're gone. But I do pray that God holds you close, and that your heart is now at peace, and you feel the love of so many of the lives that we can touch.
Just about 10 minutes